Lara was a young woman who worked hard every day as a waitress in a bustling restaurant. Life wasn't easy, her family wasn't poor, but they were certainly not rich. They scraped by, often choosing one thing over another just to survive. Every day, Lara would serve tables with a polite smile, dreaming of a life where she didn't have to worry so much. Little did she know, her life was about to change in a way she could never have imagined. One evening, while she was busy serving customers, a man named Oliver walked into the restaurant. Oliver was a wealthy businessman, and from the moment he laid eyes on Lara, he was captivated. She was slim and graceful, with a kindness in her eyes that seemed to shine through her every move. Oliver was used to living in a world of luxury, where people constantly sought his approval or tried to impress him. But Lara seemed different. Her simple smile and gentle laugh caught his attention. Oliver had always liked slim women, and Lara was just his type. As Oliver continued to visit the restaurant, he got to know Lara better. They started talking, they laughed, and found that they enjoyed each other's company. Soon he began showering her with small but thoughtful gifts. A nice scarf, a beautiful necklace, and sometimes even boxes of groceries for her family. To Lara, Oliver seemed like a blessing from above. Eventually, Oliver confessed his feelings to Lara. Although she was hesitant at first, she felt herself falling for him too. His kindness made her heart flutter, and she began to see a future filled with happiness and hope. Oliver soon took their relationship to the next level. He began sponsoring her education, paying for her younger siblings' school fees, and even supporting her parents financially. Lara's parents, who had once struggled, now enjoyed comforts they had never imagined. Her father even got a new car, while her mother started a small business. Oliver's generosity transformed their lives, and for a while, it seemed that everything was perfect. But not everyone was happy about the relationship. Oliver's mother and siblings didn't like Lara at all. They believed she was from a lower background and didn't deserve to be with someone as wealthy and influential as Oliver. They whispered behind her back, saying she was only with him for his money. But Oliver stood up for Lara and begged his mother to let him be happy with the woman he loved. Despite his family's disapproval, Oliver proposed to Lara. She accepted with a grateful heart, and they got married in a simple but beautiful ceremony after she completed her bachelor's degree. As they exchanged vows, Lara felt like she was living a dream. She had gone from being a waitress to a well-educated woman with a loving husband who provided for her family. For the first few months, their marriage was blissful. Oliver treated her like a queen, and Lara couldn't have been happier. She thought about how far she had come and how blessed she was to have found a man like him. They traveled, dined in the finest restaurants, and lived in a beautiful home that was far more luxurious than anything Lara had ever known. For a time it seemed like nothing could go wrong. However, even with all the happiness around her, Lara could sense that something wasn't quite right. Oliver's family continued to be distant and cold toward her. Whenever she visited his mother, she felt unwelcome, as if she didn't belong. His sisters would ignore her, and his mother would often make comments about her lack of class and plain looks. They treated her as though she were nothing more than a passing phase in Oliver's life. But Lara loved Oliver and was determined to make things work. She believed that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. Lara ignored the whispers and rude looks, focusing on being the best wife she could be. She cooked, cleaned, and made sure Oliver was always comfortable and happy. She wanted to prove to everyone, especially his family, that she was worthy of him. As their life together continued, Lara couldn't help but wonder if Oliver's family would ever fully accept her. Despite the coldness from his family, she held on to hope, believing that one day, they would see her for who she truly was, a loving wife and a caring person. She put aside the discomfort, thinking it was just one small hurdle in her otherwise beautiful life. After a year of their marriage, Oliver's behavior started to change in ways Lara couldn't quite understand. It began with small comments here and there, remarks she brushed off at first. One evening, as they were preparing for a friend's party, Oliver looked at her and sighed. "Don't you think you could try to gain a little weight? I mean, it might make you look more attractive." Lara was taken aback. She had always been slim, and it was one of the things Oliver had initially liked about her. She laughed it off, thinking he was just teasing her, but Oliver's expression was serious. "I just think a little more weight wouldn't hurt," he insisted. Lara's heart sank. She didn't understand why he was suddenly dissatisfied with her appearance. For a few weeks, she tried to ignore it, but Oliver kept bringing it up, often comparing her to other women who had a fuller, curvier figure. Whenever they went out, she noticed him glancing at chubby women, and each time he would look at her with disappointment. Then came the day that changed everything. Lara had invited her friend Sarah over to their home. Sarah was beautiful, with a full, hourglass figure that made heads turn. She was confident, lively, and loved attention. Lara and Sarah had been friends since childhood, and while they came from similar backgrounds, their personalities couldn't be more different. Sarah loved the idea of luxury and often teased Lara, saying she was lucky to have married a rich man. When Sarah arrived, they spent the evening talking and catching up in the living room, laughing and sharing stories. Lara noticed that when Oliver came home, his eyes immediately fixed on Sarah. He barely greeted his wife before his gaze settled on Sarah's curvy frame. Lara felt a sting of jealousy but brushed it off, thinking she was just overreacting. But as the days passed, Oliver's attention to Sarah became more obvious. He would bring up her name in conversations, complimenting her looks and saying how beautiful she was. Once he even said, "If I had known your friend Sarah before meeting you, maybe things would have been different." Lara's heart broke a little each time he compared her to Sarah, but she kept silent, hoping it was just a phase. After all, she loved Oliver deeply and wanted to please him. Lara's family began to notice the change as well. Her mother, who had been enjoying the luxuries provided by Oliver's money, grew concerned when the financial support became less frequent. Lara confided in her mother about the pressure Oliver was putting on her to gain weight. Her mother took Oliver's side immediately. "Lara, you should do what he wants," she said. "Don't you understand? Your husband has brought us out of poverty. If he wants you to gain weight, then you should do it. Don't let pride make you lose everything." Lara felt trapped. She loved her slim figure and had always been comfortable in her skin. But now, with her husband's approval fading and her mother pushing her, she felt like she had no choice. Reluctantly, she started eating more, forcing herself to put on weight to please Oliver. She struggled not just with her diet, but with her sense of self-worth. Every bite seemed to take her further away from the woman she once was. Despite her efforts, nothing seemed to make Oliver happy. He would glance at her with frustration, and the love that once sparkled in his eyes now seemed to have dimmed. He started coming home late, often with excuses about work or meeting friends. Lara tried to ignore the warning signs, desperately clinging to the hope that things would improve. One evening, as Lara sat alone, wondering where her husband was, she received a message from Sarah. She was too stunned to reply. Sarah said she wouldn't be visiting as often because she didn't want to cause tension between Lara and Oliver. Lara's stomach twisted. What did that mean? Why would her friend be worried about causing tension? Slowly, Lara began piecing together the unsettling truth. Sarah had sensed Oliver's growing interest in her and was using it to her advantage. She remembered all the times Sarah had talked about wanting a life like hers, admiring her for catching such a rich man. What if Sarah wasn't as innocent as she seemed? A few days later, Lara decided to confront Oliver about his behavior. She asked him directly if he was seeing someone else, half expecting him to laugh it off and reassure her. But instead, Oliver's face hardened. "Maybe if you tried a little harder to make yourself attractive, I wouldn't have to look at other women," he snapped. His words cut deeper than anything Lara had ever felt before. After that confrontation, things only grew worse. Oliver became cruel, openly criticizing her appearance and comparing her to Sarah at every chance he got. Lara's heart ached each time he brought up her friend's name, but she was too afraid to confront Sarah. She felt stuck between a husband who no longer loved her and a friend who seemed to be stealing her life right in front of her eyes. Oliver's family, who had never fully accepted her, took this opportunity to pile on. His mother and sisters, Jane and Lisa, often visited, bringing with them sharp words and cold stares. They would make hurtful comments about her weight, sneering at her attempts to change for Oliver. They called her desperate, and his sisters even began referring to her as the fat failure. Lara was broken but held on, trying to survive in a home that no longer felt like hers. With each passing day, Lara felt her identity slipping away. She wasn't the happy woman Oliver had fallen in love with. She was becoming a stranger to herself, caught in a nightmare she didn't know how to escape. And little did she know, the real betrayal was yet to come. A betrayal that would turn her world upside down and force her to confront the painful truth about those closest to her. As the days turned into weeks, the tension in the house became unbearable. Oliver's criticisms became sharper, his affection colder. He would often leave for days, claiming he had business to attend to, while Lara sat at home, lonely and confused. Her heart ached for the love they once shared, but all she received in return were cutting remarks and an increasing distance. One gloomy afternoon, while Lara was cleaning the house, she stumbled upon Oliver's phone lying on the coffee table. Curiosity got the better of her. She picked it up and hesitated for a moment, knowing she shouldn't invade his privacy. But a nagging feeling told her to take a peek. As she unlocked the phone, her heart raced. There, in plain sight, were messages between Oliver and Sarah. Lara's breath hitched as she read the words. They were filled with flirty compliments and loving declarations. The last message sent chills down her spine. "I can't wait to be with you when it's just us." Lara has no idea. The room spun around her as reality crashed in. Oliver was cheating on her with her best friend. Her heart shattered, but instead of crying, a fierce anger surged within her. How could they betray her like this? They had both pretended to care while plotting behind her back. Feeling a mix of betrayal and heartbreak, Lara decided she wouldn't confront them just yet. She needed a plan. That night, she kept her emotions bottled up, feigning normalcy around Oliver when he returned home. She greeted him with a forced smile, determined to hide her knowledge and watch how the events would unfold. Days turned into a painful cycle of deceit. Lara noticed Oliver becoming even more distant. He would leave home without a word, and the moments he did spend at home were filled with anger and frustration. He would often come back late, smelling of cheap perfume that wasn't hers, and each time, her heart sank further. One evening, after Oliver had stormed out following a particularly nasty argument, Lara found herself sitting in the living room, contemplating her next move. Suddenly, she remembered something one of her friends had always told her. "You must always have a plan, my daughter. Don't let anyone hold your future in their hands." With that thought, Lara decided it was time to take control of her own life. She had secretly saved some money that Oliver had been giving her, setting aside funds for a rainy day. She began to think about starting her own business, something that would give her independence and a fresh start, away from Oliver's cruel grasp. Lara spent hours researching ideas, determined to make her plan work. She thought of a small bakery, as she loved baking and had often received compliments on her cakes. It would take time and dedication, but Lara was determined to succeed. Each day, she set aside her earnings, refusing to spend it on anything other than her future. As the days passed, Oliver's visits to their home grew infrequent. He became more bold, often bringing Sarah around, flaunting their relationship like a trophy. Lara watched from the shadows, her heart heavy with the weight of her betrayal. She felt utterly alone in a marriage that had turned toxic. One fateful afternoon, while running errands, Lara decided to visit a local bakery for inspiration. She watched the bakers work, their hands skillfully kneading dough and decorating cakes. A small spark ignited within her. This was what she wanted to do. Later that evening, as she returned home, she found Oliver in the living room, laughing with Sarah. Their laughter echoed through the house, and Lara's heart broke all over again. She had to confront them. No more hiding. "Oliver," she called out, her voice steady, surprising even herself. He turned around, a look of annoyance flashing across his face. "What do you want, Lara?" he snapped. Sarah looked uncomfortable, shifting in her seat. "I know about you and Sarah," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I found your messages. How could you do this to me? To us?" Oliver's expression darkened. "This isn't the time or place, Lara. You're being ridiculous," he said, waving her off. "I'm being ridiculous?" Lara felt a wave of anger wash over her. "You've been hiding behind my back, playing games with my best friend. How can you stand there and act like nothing is wrong?" Sarah, who had been silent until now, chimed in. "Lara, you need to calm down. You're overreacting. Oliver loves me, and it's time you accept that." Lara's heart sank at Sarah's words. The betrayal stung more than she had imagined. "You really think I'm going to just accept this? You both are dead to me," she shouted, her emotions pouring out like a flood. Oliver's eyes narrowed. "You don't get to speak to me like that. I've had enough of you, Lara. You're the one who needs to change, not me." Tears streamed down her face, but Lara stood tall. "I won't change for you. I'm done. If you want a divorce, you can have it. But know this, I will rise above this, with or without you." With that, Lara stormed out of the house, feeling a mixture of relief and sadness. As she stepped into the cool evening air, she realized that this was the turning point she had been waiting for. She was no longer the woman who would accept betrayal quietly. She was stronger than that. Determined to build her life, Lara started making plans for her bakery. She would take back control and turn her pain into power. It was time to show Oliver and Sarah that she was not to be underestimated. They thought they had won, but she would rise from the ashes of their betrayal, stronger than ever. Lara's heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear as she began to set her plans into motion. With her savings carefully tucked away, she took her first steps toward opening her bakery. She spent long hours researching recipes, taking notes, and watching countless baking tutorials online. Every moment she could spare from her job at the restaurant was devoted to honing her skills and creating the perfect cake. After weeks of preparation, she finally decided it was time to find a location for her bakery. With the help of a local real estate agent, she discovered a quaint little shop near the bustling market where foot traffic was high. It was a perfect spot, small enough to manage but large enough to attract customers. However, securing the location was only the beginning. She needed to gather the funds to get started. Lara decorated the shop with colorful banners and posters. She painted the walls a warm yellow, symbolizing happiness and optimism. She spent every spare minute arranging displays and perfecting her recipes. The aroma of freshly baked bread and sweet pastries soon filled the air, making the little shop feel alive. As opening day approached, Lara felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. What if no one came? What if she failed? But deep down, she remembered the betrayal she had faced. It fueled her determination. She was doing this for herself, to reclaim her life and her happiness. Finally, the big day arrived. Lara stood outside the bakery, her heart pounding in her chest. She wore a bright apron and a wide smile, eager to welcome her first customers. As the sun rose higher, people began to trickle in, drawn by the delicious scents wafting from her shop. To her surprise, the response was overwhelmingly positive. The community loved her treats, and soon word spread about the new bakery. Each day, more and more customers filled the little shop, eager to taste Lara's pastries and cakes. She served them with a warm smile, and her heart swelled with joy. But as her business flourished, Oliver and Sarah's shadows loomed larger. They often passed by her bakery, and Lara could feel their judgmental glares as they walked hand in hand. Their presence stung, but instead of feeling defeated, it ignited a fire within her. She was determined to show them that she was better off without them. Months passed, and Lara's bakery quickly became a beloved part of the community. She introduced special items like forgiveness cupcakes, inspired by her journey of healing and empowerment. Each cupcake was adorned with a sweet message, reminding her customers that they could overcome any challenge. Despite her success, Lara's past still haunted her. She often felt the pain of betrayal creeping back in. One evening, as she closed up the bakery, She was startled by a sudden knock on the door. When she opened it, she found Oliver standing there, looking disheveled and desperate. "Lara, please. Can we talk?" he pleaded, his voice shaky. She crossed her arms, her heart racing. "What do you want, Oliver?" "I need to explain everything," he said, stepping closer. "I made a mistake and I—" "A mistake? You cheated on me with my best friend." Lara interrupted, her voice rising. "What could you possibly say that would change anything? Please just hear me out," he begged. "Things with Sarah didn't turn out like I expected. I thought I wanted her, but she's not you. I miss you, Lara." Lara shook her head, her anger boiling inside her. "You threw away our marriage, Oliver. You made your choice. I've moved on and I'm not going back to that life. I'm happier now." Oliver's face fell, and he looked genuinely hurt. "I know I messed up. I see you thriving and I'm proud of you. I just want a chance to make things right." Lara took a deep breath, struggling to contain her emotions. "You think I want you back after everything? You made me feel worthless, and I'm not going to allow you to belittle me again. I've worked hard to get to where I am now. I deserve better." Oliver opened his mouth to protest, but she held up her hand. "Oh, you don't get to say anything else. I'm done with your lies and your empty promises. I've rebuilt my life and I'm happy." With that, Lara stepped back inside her bakery, closing the door firmly behind her. As she locked it, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She had stood up for herself, and for the first time since their separation, she felt free. The next morning, as Lara prepared for the day ahead, she was surprised to receive a bouquet of flowers from her friends, congratulating her on her success. Their support filled her with warmth and gratitude. But then one day, a knock on the door interrupted her joyful atmosphere. 'Twas Sarah. Lara felt her heart race as she faced her former friend, now wearing a look of remorse. "Lara, I'm sorry," Sarah said, tears brimming in her eyes. "I was jealous of you. I thought being with Oliver would make me happy, but it didn't. I've lost everything because of my choices, and I see that now. I was wrong." Lara was taken aback. She had never expected to see Sarah again, let alone hear an apology. "You hurt me deeply, Sarah." "I trusted you," Lara said, trying to keep her composure. "No. And I understand if you never want to speak to me again. But I wanted to apologize and ask for your forgiveness." "I was foolish and greedy," Sarah replied, her voice trembling. Lara studied Sarah's face. Part of her wanted to lash out, to remind her of all the pain she had caused. But another part understood the weight of regret. "It's going to take time for me to forgive you, but I appreciate you coming here and being honest," Lara said finally. "I understand, and I'll do whatever it takes," Sarah replied. Lara nodded, knowing that healing would be a long journey. "Just remember, every choice we make has consequences," she said softly. As Sarah walked away, Lara felt a strange mix of emotions. It was a step toward closure, not just for Sarah, but for herself as well. She had grown so much, and now she was ready to let go of the past. As spring turned into summer, Lara's bakery continued to thrive. The community embraced her, and she became a staple in the lives of many. Every morning, the aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air, drawing in loyal customers and curious newcomers alike. Lara felt fulfilled, her heart swelling with pride each time she saw a smiling face enjoy her treats. However, deep down, she knew that while she had rebuilt her career, she still needed to focus on rebuilding her life emotionally. One evening, as she cleaned up after a bustling day, her friend Clara entered the shop, a playful grin on her face. "You know, I think you need a break. You work too hard," she said, leaning against the counter. "I can't afford to take a break, Clara. The bakery is my baby," Lara replied, wiping flour from her hands. "Your baby deserves a well-rested mother. Come on, let's go out for dinner. You need to celebrate your success," Clara insisted. Lara hesitated. She hadn't been out in ages. With a gentle push from Clara, she finally agreed. They headed to a nearby restaurant, where the warm ambience enveloped them like a cozy blanket. As they enjoyed their meal, Clara leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with excitement. So what's next for you? Have you thought about expanding your bakery? Honestly, I haven't thought that far ahead, Lara admitted. I'm just happy to have this place running. But you're amazing. You've worked so hard and you're making a difference in the community. I think you should consider it. Clara encouraged. Lara took a moment to reflect. She loved the idea of expanding, but the thought of managing more responsibilities made her anxious. I appreciate your support, but what if I can't handle it? What if I fail again? Lara, you've already succeeded against all odds. Just think about it. You're not the same person you were before, Clara reassured her. The evening left Lara buzzing with possibilities. As she lay in bed that night, she contemplated her future. Maybe it was time to dream bigger. The next day, she woke up with a newfound sense of determination. She grabbed a notepad and started jotting down ideas for her bakery. What if she introduced a delivery service? Or started a catering branch for events? The possibilities were endless. With each idea, her excitement grew. She began to plan her first official event, a community bake sale to raise funds for a local charity. It was a chance to showcase her skills while giving back, and it felt like the perfect way to connect with her community even more. As the weeks flew by, Lara poured her heart and soul into the bake sale. She organized everything meticulously, recruiting her friends to help with preparations. They baked countless treats, transforming the local community center into a vibrant space filled with laughter and the scent of sugary confections. The day of the bake sale arrived, and Lara was overwhelmed by the turnout. Families filled the hall, eagerly browsing the tables overflowing with pastries, cookies, and cakes. The atmosphere was filled with joy as people shared stories, laughter, and delicious food. As the sun began to set, Lara watched in awe as the community came together, all for a good cause. She realized that this was what she had been missing in her life, a sense of belonging, connection, and purpose. When the event concluded, they raised more money than she could have ever imagined. Lara felt a wave of pride wash over her. She had not only succeeded in her bakery venture but had also made a positive impact in her community. As the days went on, Lara decided to take Clara's advice to heart. She expanded her bakery. The next few months were filled with excitement as Lara worked to make her dreams a reality. She hired more staff, created new recipes, and revamped the shop's interior to accommodate more customers. Her vision was coming to life, and she couldn't be prouder. Then came the grand reopening of her newly expanded bakery. The community rallied around her once more, eager to see the transformation. As Lara stood at the entrance, she felt a wave of gratitude for all the support she had received. With a warm smile, she welcomed guests into her new bakery, their faces lighting up with delight. The sweet aroma filled the air, and laughter echoed around her as people enjoyed the new treats. It was everything she had dreamed of and more. As the day unfolded, Lara felt a sense of closure. She had finally let go of her past, embracing her present and looking forward to the future. The bakery was not just a business. It was a testament to her resilience, a reminder that no matter how deep the wounds ran, healing was possible. A few days after the reopening, while she was busy in the kitchen, she heard the bell above the door chime. She turned to see a familiar face, Oliver. Her heart skipped a beat, but she quickly steadied herself, reminding herself of how far she had come. "Hey Lara," he said, looking nervous. "I just wanted to congratulate you on your bakery. It looks amazing." "Thank you, Oliver," she replied coolly, trying to mask her emotions. "I know things ended badly between us, and I regret how I treated you," he said, his voice sincere. "Seeing you succeed makes me realize what I lost. I just wanted to apologize again." Lara took a deep breath, her heart heavy with memories. "It's taken me a long time to heal, Oliver. I appreciate your apology, but I've moved on. This is my life now, and I'm happy." He nodded, looking defeated. "I understand. I just wanted you to know I'm proud of you." "Thank you. That means a lot," she said, trying to keep the conversation light. As he walked away, Lara felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had faced her past and emerged stronger. The fear that had once consumed her was replaced with the knowledge that she could conquer anything. The following weeks brought more opportunities. Lara received requests for catering weddings, birthdays, and other celebrations. Her bakery became known not just for its delicious treats but also for its ability to bring joy to special moments in people's lives. As she continued to grow her business, Lara remained dedicated to her community. She organized baking classes for children and workshops for aspiring bakers, sharing her knowledge and passion with those eager to learn. Through it all, she learned the true essence of resilience, not just in her business but in her life. She discovered the power of community, friendship, and forgiveness. Each day, she found joy in the little things, the laughter of children in her baking classes, and the smiles of satisfied customers. Lara had transformed her pain into purpose, and with each cupcake, she built a legacy of love, hope, and determination. Her journey had taught her that no matter the obstacles, there was always a way to rise again and shine even brighter. We have come to the end of this story. Do not forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Like, comment, and share this videos to your loved ones. Till we meet again, lovelies.